home today. Congress has some work to do. Congress has not yet authorized a war against ISIS, but that might all be changing soon.
Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Virginia, Senator Tim Kaine, who plans to call for action today on the Senate floor. Senator, good morning to you.
Hey, Stephen, Allison, great to be with you. Yes, today finishes 9 months of a war that the president started in August, and Congress hasn't said one thing about it, even though we've spent billions of dollars. We've lost the lives of American servicemen and women. We've done over 3,000 bombing runs, have 4,000 Americans deployed there. It's time finally for Congress to do our job.
And what will you be specifically asking Congress to do today, sir?
The Constitution says that we shouldn't be at war without a vote of Congress. The president started this bombing campaign on the 8th of August. It took the president a long time to send to Congress a proposal for military action. He didn't send it till February, which was entirely too long. But now it's been 3 months since that, and Congress hasn't acted. And so I will ask, as I have since September, I introduced a resolution in September to get Congress to vote on this war, and I will renew that request. The Foreign Relations Committee just acted in a bipartisan way to pass a bill about reviewing an ultimate nuclear deal with Iran. We've shown we can act in a bipartisan way, and we need to do this to show the troops who are risking their lives that Congress is paying attention and supports the mission that we're engaged in against ISIL.
You know, Senator, I know you're calling for this authorization from Congress for this authorization of war, essentially overseas. What about what's happening here in this country when it comes to what we saw happen in Texas, and we're hearing names of training in Virginia, et cetera? Would that be all-encompassing as to help fight on our own soil as well, or would we have to approach that separately?
No, Steve, we already have powers where we can engage in domestic activity because it's law enforcement. But it is a good example for why Congress needs to act. When the bombing campaign against ISIL started, ISIL was headquartered in Raqqa, Syria, and they were active on the battlefield in Syria and Iraq. In the months since, they've claimed responsibility for attacks in Libya and Afghanistan. In Nigeria, the terrorist group Boko Haram has pledged support for ISIL, and now we have attacks in the United States that are at a minimum inspired by ISIL activity. If Congress thought this threat was just going to go away or take care of itself, that was sadly mistaken. The threat is growing and mutating, and it's Congress's responsibility to give some shape and definition to the military mission that we need to take with other nations against ISIL.
Senator, we're reporting today that some of the recruits were found within the 5 states, in your state, in Virginia. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I wish I could say I was surprised, Allison, but I'm not. Again, ISIL is very sophisticated at using social media to try to either recruit people or inspire them to acts of domestic terrorism. They really use social media to do it, and they find people who are very disaffected, who are very disengaged or violent or have, sometimes mental health issues, and they prey upon them. And so the fact that there may be some folks in Virginia who have been inspired or in communication with some of them is troubling but not surprising. And again, it shows that Congress has got to take this seriously. So many Virginians are in service. The USS Theodore Roosevelt, which is based out of Virginia, is deployed overseas to support this mission against ISIL. So we've got risking their lives every day, and Congress is acting up here as if there's not a war going on, and there is, and we've got to give it some appropriate definition so that our adversaries, our allies, and especially our troops know that we support this mission.
Senator, before we let you go, let's keep it in Virginia right now. Reagan National Airport, of course, it's a hub of activity for folks in D.C. and across the river in Virginia. Yes. Proposal to actually expand it a little bit, the airspace, the routes, the planes. Some travelers might think this is a great idea. You not so much. Why?
Congress used to control both Dulles and Reagan airports, and in the late 1980s, Congress gave the power of it away because it wasn't being well managed to an airports authority, and Congress was supposed to be out of the business of micromanaging. The deal was that because of the small footprint of Reagan National, the flights in and out would be closer flights, and the long-haul and international flights would go out of Dulles. But members of Congress, as you might understand, especially from western states, they'd rather fly out of Reagan than Dulles, so they've tried to micromanage over the years and create a lot of exceptions and get more long-haul routes into Reagan National. That creates longer security lines. Congress wanting, flights that they can take is now creating crowding problems at Reagan and creating financial problems because business is going away from Dulles. And so we're going to have probably this year members of Congress trying to get more exceptions so that long-haul flights can go into Reagan. That will inconvenience Reagan travelers by increasing security lines, and it will hurt Dulles. My message is, hey, Congress, you gave up these airports for a reason. Don't try to micromanage them. Let the airports manage their own business.
Well, Senator, I know you have a busy day on the floor today dealing with this ISIL incident right now and authorization, I should say. But we do appreciate your time this morning. Always good to talk to you.
Absolutely. Steve and Allison, glad to be with you guys.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator. 7:36 right now.